The auditorium was filled with excitement that afternoon. Families crowded into rows of polished wooden seats, holding bouquets, banners, and cameras ready to capture every proud moment. Students in caps and gowns lined the aisles, whispering nervously as they waited for their names to be called. It was supposed to be a day of joy, a day of celebration. Yet for Emma, the CEO's daughter, the moment carried a different weight. Emma sat in her wheelchair near the front, a fragile figure wrapped in a gown that seemed too big for her thin frame. The tassel on her cap brushed against her cheek as she lowered her head, avoiding the gaze of those around her. The chair next to her was painfully empty. Other students had mothers, fathers, or siblings filling theirs with laughter and warmth. She had no one. Her mother, the powerful CEO who rarely left the boardroom, had chosen a business deal over her daughter's milestone. Her father had long been absent from her life. The truth of her loneliness was clearer than ever in this crowded hall. Her classmates looked excited as their names were called. Families cheered, clapping so loud the sound echoed through the high ceilings. Cameras flashed and proud parents cried tears of happiness. Emma's lips pressed into a tight line. She wanted to share that same moment of pride. She wanted someone to stand, to clap, to call out her name with love. But when she glanced at the sea of faces in the audience, there was no one searching for her. A teacher walked by and gave her shoulder a gentle squeeze, a silent acknowledgement of the strength it took to be there, alone. Emma tried to smile back, but the knot in her throat grew tighter. She shifted her hands nervously against the armrest of her wheelchair. The ramp to the stage looked longer than it should have. Each inch felt like a reminder of the challenges she carried every day. Finally, the announcer's voice rang out. Emma Carter. Her name echoed across the auditorium. For a moment, time seemed to stop. She heard applause, polite but not personal. Nothing like the roars given to her classmates. Emma placed her hands on her wheels and began to move forward. The sound of the chair's rubber tires on the polished floor filled her ears. Her heart pounded. Every face she passed was smiling, but none of those smiles were for her. As she approached the ramp leading up to the stage, her chest tightened. She felt exposed, fragile, and utterly alone. She thought about the empty seat beside her and wondered how it was possible to feel invisible in a room full of people. The day meant to celebrate her achievement had turned into a painful reminder of everything she lacked. Her eyes burned as she blinked hard, refusing to let the tears fall. She would face the stage, no matter how heavy the silence around her felt. Emma's wheels creaked softly as she pushed toward the ramp. Her cap tilted slightly, her gown brushing the sides of her chair, but she barely noticed. The applause around her blended into a dull hum, not carrying the warmth she had longed for. She could feel the sting of isolation, pressing harder with every inch she moved closer to the stage. It was supposed to be her proudest moment, but instead, she felt like a shadow drifting through someone else's celebration. Then from the second row of the audience, a man slowly stood. His movements were unhurried, purposeful. His name was Daniel, a single father who had sat quietly throughout the ceremony, his daughter seated beside him. She was one of Emma's classmates, and Daniel had often seen Emma during late study sessions at their home. He remembered her soft laugh, her sharp mind, and the way she never complained, despite the challenges she faced. When he saw the empty chair beside her earlier, something inside him stirred. Now, as Emma hesitated at the base of the ramp, Daniel stepped forward. The audience shifted, whispers rising as they noticed his figure moving toward her. He didn't hesitate. He crouched slightly, so his voice reached her without anyone else hearing. "You don't have to face this alone," he said gently, his hand resting on the side of her chair. Emma looked up startled. Her eyes shimmered with surprise and a flicker of relief. For the first time that day, someone had noticed her struggle. Someone had chosen to stand with her. She nodded, unable to speak, but the gratitude in her gaze was clear. Together they began moving up the ramp. Daniel kept one steadying hand on her chair, his presence turning the lonely journey into something shared. The crowd, at first silent, began to clap louder. The applause grew into cheers, not just for a diploma, but for the quiet strength of compassion. Cameras flashed again, but this time Emma didn't feel invisible. She felt seen, supported, and celebrated. When they reached the top, the principal extended the diploma toward her. Emma took it with trembling hands, her heart racing not with loneliness, but with pride. Daniel stood just a step behind, smiling warmly, as though he had been waiting there all along. The auditorium roared with applause, parents and students rising to their feet in a standing ovation. Emma turned her head slightly toward him, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you," she said, words carrying the weight of all the silence she had endured. Daniel's expression softened. "You earned this moment," he replied quietly. "I just wanted to make sure you didn't face it alone." As Emma wheeled herself back down, her diploma clutched tightly. She no longer saw the empty seat waiting for her. She saw instead the strength of a stranger's kindness and the way a single act could turn loneliness into belonging. For the first time that day, she felt truly celebrated.